Hey everybody, it's Brian over at Valkerion Gaming, and today we're going to talk about the PlayStation 5 getting another price increase here in Japan. So, if you're not aware, the PlayStation 5 has just gotten an announcement of getting another price increase here in Japan. That is maybe the third or fourth price increase since this console launched in 2020. And now the new price will be 79,980 yen for the base console, and the digital version will be 72,980 yen. If you're not aware, the Japanese economy has been pretty bad, and inflation has really just kind of gut-punched everyone's wallets here in Japan. The prices for everything have basically gone up, from food to daily necessities to electronics, obviously, and more. But there was always this kind of, not bubble, but kind of a level of expectations of prices for certain things. And gaming consoles kind of kept going up with the PlayStation 5 and even the Xbox Series consoles. Those also have been going up here as well, but they're less of a factor in the marketplace. And the only one that's been holding strong and not increasing their price has been Nintendo Switch's console lineup. So it kind of is another gut punch to everyone's wallet to see that the PlayStation 5 has gotten another price increase. And to put it into even more context, in 2020, the PlayStation 5 launched, and I have my receipt here because I don't throw anything away because I'm a psychopath like that. I paid 39,980 yen. That is the base price, and with tax I paid 43,978 yen. That is the default price I paid for my PlayStation 5 Digital Edition. That's what I paid day one. And now the price of the console has doubled. And like I said, it's obviously economic factors like inflation and the Japanese economy not doing very well, and the Japanese bodies that control the prices for things not really doing their part to keep up with the economy post-pandemic. But this price increase has squarely put the PlayStation 5 into like luxury item status for a lot of people. And remember, you can't really apples and apples compare the Japanese economy and yen, the Japanese yen, to the American dollars, which I'm going to do in this video, but you shouldn't do it literally. This is just for like simplicity's sake. So for example, you can say 80,000 yen is $800. Imagine paying $800 for the PlayStation 5. Just think about that. Think about what the price is for the PlayStation 5 now, in whatever region you're in outside of Japan, and then think about, oh, it's 800 US dollars. That is kind of the mental equivalent here in Japan. But you also have to factor in, people in Japan do not make a lot of money, like very little. You can't really compare economies and salaries to each other, but especially in Japan, salaries and wages and so on and so forth, those are the same synonyms to each other, but they haven't really increased in decades. Like, even when they brag about wages increasing at certain companies, they're only going up by a few small percentages. We're talking like 2% wage increases for a company that hasn't increased wages in over 25 years. So seeing these price increases jump so steadily, 4 years now, we've had 4 years of the PlayStation 5, and it went from 40,000 yen to now 80,000. Just think about that. That's a double the price, and everyone's salaries haven't gone up, and the people whose salaries have gone up have only gone up by like at most 4 or 5%. So you're already compounding a really expensive product with the average user base that is not making nearly enough money to justify buying an $800 entertainment device. So I consider myself super lucky because I got the PlayStation 5 during the pandemic when it was the lottery purchases only. The supplies were super low, and I got it now at the base price of only $400. And now the price is increasing. And don't forget, this price increase is not just the consoles, it is the entire lineup of accessories as well. That includes controllers, and I bought this controller last weekend. No, not even last weekend. When did I buy this? I bought this last Thursday. I bought this last Thursday, so yeah, last weekend. I bought it last Thursday because my default controller, the one that came with the console, was starting to drift, and I was like, I have to get a new controller because it's giving me a headache. And I went out to buy this, and I was shocked that it was $100. The equivalent of $100 is Ichimayen, more than that actually. And the price of these is going up too. And so is the price of the PlayStation VR 2, which, who's buying that? The PlayStation VR 2, the PlayStation Portal controller, portable controller screen thing, that is going up. All versions of the controller are going up, the base controller, the Elite controller, the so on and so forth. And the most surprising, the PlayStation 4 accessories are going up too. The PlayStation 4 DualShock 4, is that what it's called? I don't remember. That is also going up in price, and it's insane that the entire lineup of products for Sony's PlayStation line are going up. And that's on top of the already very expensive price of games here in Japan. Remember, Japan doesn't have a standardized pricing for games. So you can get games like Final Fantasy 16. I just happen to have these coasters of Final Fantasy 16 sitting here. Final Fantasy 16 was something like over $100 here because the Final Fantasy brand is very famous and popular, so it has a higher price. And then other games like Gundam, I'm a huge Gundam fan. Gundam is a very popular property, super high price for their games. But then some other like lesser known brand names are cheaper. So you don't have standardized pricing, but a lot of games are trending upward for Sony's console. The only bastion of holding out for lower prices is Nintendo, but even they are letting third parties increase their prices. So the overwhelming response to this, because this is the #1 story in Japan only a few hours after announcement, is that this is super negative. Nobody is happy about this. Lots of people are saying like the price of this console is entirely too expensive now. 80,000 yen is just an asinine price for a base console that is already showing its wear in terms of performance in games, even though it's not always the console's fault, sure, whatever. But it's already fairly outparsed by the average gaming rig. It's a console that is having rumors of having a second tier console coming out soon by the end of the year, at least announced, with the PlayStation 5 Pro, if that is a real thing. And if your baseline is $800 or the equivalent of $800 Hachijumayen, what is the PlayStation Pro's price point going to be? That's what a lot of people are asking. It's like, it's going to be a minimum of 10,000 or 100,000 yen, which is the equivalent of like $1,000. So is Sony going to ask $1,000 from the Japanese user base who's already not making that much money and already isn't really going out in droves to buy your console, and your lineup for 2025 and the rest of 2024 isn't so hot at the moment? That's what a lot of people are wondering. And there is Monster Hunter Wilds coming out early next year. That is probably the biggest game on the radar in all of gaming at the moment, maybe. But it's just, yeah, the overwhelming response to this announcement has been negative. Lots of people are saying like things like, are you crazy? 80,000 yen is way too much. You can just buy a gaming PC for that price. Or a lot of people are saying like, yeah, you can basically just push into PC gaming if you just save a little bit more, or just buy something and make it yourself with all the parts. And people are even posting PC builds in the responses to this official Sony announcement on Twitter and on the news sites. Like, hey, here's a spec sheet of a PC that you can build for Mayen for like $700. And yeah, other responses are things like, if for this price point, literally the only people who will have a PlayStation 5 are the people who already bought one. And that is pretty true. So yeah, that is just my take on all of this. It's such a high price for a console in a region that is already not making that much money, and a lot of the user base that would potentially buy a PlayStation 5 is essentially being priced out of the purchase at this point. What is the solution here? Will the price just go up temporarily and see if the Japanese economy fixes itself more and then just like tanks afterwards? I don't know. But a lot of people are having an extremely negative response to this here in Japan, obviously, and a lot of people are wondering how much the PlayStation 5 will cost. There's even one of my favorite posts, people were posting like, hey, you can buy a PlayStation 5 for this new price point, or you can buy a motorcycle. So I was like, yeah, that is the price of it. So yeah, it's a little too expensive for the average consumer here in Japan, and this isn't me like having any solution to this problem. I have no idea what the solution is, but a lot of people are saying like it's too expensive, it's way too expensive, I can't afford this anymore. I wanted to buy one before Monster Hunter Wilds came out, and now I can't. I was hoping the price would go down with the announcement of the PlayStation 5 Pro or something like that. And it doesn't look like it is, so it's a pretty wild situation at the moment. To see Sony just completely sweep the board with, this is way too expensive now, and it was already very expensive, but now it's just that much more expensive. To go from 65,000 or 66,000 yen to 80,000 is pretty bold, and I don't know what Sony's expecting of this, because I don't think this will help their sales. They were already handedly in second place behind the Switch, but their consoles weren't flying off the shelves, so to speak. And the other thing that is trending right under the PlayStation price increase is resellers. A lot of people are jumping on reselling their PlayStation 5 at this point, because a lot of people are going to be looking to get it a little bit cheaper. So a lot of people are wondering, like, hey, is the PlayStation 5 going to be a hot commodity? But yeah, it's trending all over Japan right now, so we'll see how the Japanese economy and people handle it. But yeah, it's really expensive. I tweeted out my receipt, and a lot of people have been responding. It's like, it's fucking wild, dude. But yeah, I don't know. I didn't really have a point in this video. I just wanted to talk about it and point it out, because I don't know if people are outside of Japan are aware of how expensive it is, and how expensive it is for people who are getting paid in Japanese yen. It is not, if you look at it and you do like the price conversion into US dollars, it's like $550. For the US salary, $550 is expensive, but it's not undoable. But you have to remember, it's not 500,000 yen for us. It's 80,000 yen. It's 500 G's. It's not 50,000 yen for us, $500. It's 80,000. So it feels like $800, not $500. Couple that with people's already low salaries just across the board, no matter what industry you're in, unless you're at the very top of it, you're not making that much money. So this takes the PlayStation from like entertainment device to luxury device now. And Sony has always been criticized here in Japan for having really kind of unfair or unaware prices for their stuff, like their TVs or cameras or PCs or laptops and whatnot. Everyone's like, these things are way too expensive for what they are. And PlayStation has always kind of been like the holdout for not doing that, and now it's not. So yeah, I don't have anything more to say. That is it. Like, sub, hit the bell for notifications if you want to know more about the Japanese economy or the Japanese gaming landscape at the moment. And also, TGS is coming up in a month, so I don't know what Sony was planning with this. But anyway, that's gonna do it for this one. If you have any questions about the Japanese gaming scene, let them fire off in the comments down below. I'd love to answer it. I might be going to TGS, and because I want to play Monster Hunter. I want to play Monster Hunter, so I might go to TGS, but maybe if I can afford it, we'll see. Like, sub, hit the bell for notifications, and I hope to see you again next time. Good night, good game, and all that good stuff. Be nice to each other out there. We're all broke here in Japan. Peace.